season, like more injuries, kind of teams more open to strange losses. It means it is a lot more predictable, and fans that were being very smug 2 weeks ago are now not very smug, and fans that were very quiet last week are now being very smug this week, and I might include myself in that one.
Thank you very much. I was going to suggest our listeners the name of one of them.
So I think, the Premier League always has this like propensity for this to happen, but this year even more so, and I am all for it as long as Arsenal keep going in this direction.
So, what makes the headline story? There is a particular headline that you pointed out, Bielsa getting the stick.
Yeah, well, there's been a few pundits in the UK who are talking about how, due to Bielsa's attitude of how he approaches games, like never really being pragmatic, never defending, just all-out attack, because this does lead to inconsistency. There have been some pundits saying that maybe Bielsa, maybe Leeds will fall away, maybe Bielsa isn't the right man for the job, and I think all these people are just completely missing the point of Bielsa. What I love about Bielsa is, I think we've compared him to him in the past. It's kind of like Zdeněk Zeman when he was in Serie A, who only cares about the offense, right? And obviously, this very rarely wins you titles or wins you trophies, but the fans have so much fun along the way, and I think the fans always look back on those teams more fondly, regardless of if you won things or not, thinking, well, we were scoring 5 every week. Okay, we might concede 4, but we were scoring 5. Like, what I love about the Leeds team as well is every time you check the result, if they scored 4 or 5, it's never one player. It's always spread around the team.
True.
Like, they get goals from everywhere. And last night, they absolutely hammered West Brom 5-0 at the Hawthorns. This was Bielsa against Allardyce. So Allardyce, obviously, after the draw at Anfield in the last round of fixtures, played his classic block the bus, flat back 10.
The flat back 10, I love the expression.
Try and get out of here without too bloody a nose. Obviously, at Liverpool it worked. They managed to get a point, but Bielsa's men were too much for them last night, and it was the kind of football against anti-football. I was very, very happy that football won.
And I'm just looking at right now at the Premier League table, and I'm wondering how can you give this manager a stick after he promoted the team. Mm-hmm. He's sitting at 11th with 23 points. They might have gotten 30 goals against, but they have also scored 30. They're the 4th best attack in the Premier League. Yeah. So
straight from the Championship.
I think that maybe Bielsa, what he's trying to do is just like, right, we are here to stay. He knows that they're going to stay up. Yeah. He's also experimenting a little bit. How far can I push my system in this league? Imagine, like, if it was working even better than this, he would be a genius. But I think he's just trying to figure things out. Like, right, how often can I afford to have this attitude against another team? Maybe after he gets like 6 scored against, like he will change his tactics and stuff like that.
I don't think Bielsa will. I don't think he does. That's the beauty of Bielsa.
You think he will never adapt to try and adapt his system to the Premier League?
That's it. He plays his system, his football. That's it.
All right.
And I just quickly before we move on, I would say last year Chris Wilder was doing basically the same job with Sheffield United of like a freshly promoted team, got them comfortably in mid-table. And everyone was praising him. You could not say a bad word against Chris Wilder. Now Bielsa is doing arguably a better job with Leeds this year, playing kind of more attractive football, more attacking football, got them in a similar or better position to Sheffield United at this point last season. He's getting a lot of criticism. It just doesn't sit well with me. We'll see if Leeds can keep it up, because we do know that Bielsa teams do fade towards the later part of the season. But even last season in the Championship, Leeds had a stronger finish than the beginning of the season. Obviously, that's different because there was like empty stadiums and stuff, but I think the point still stands. And maybe Bielsa has found a way for his system to last over a season. All I would say is, I do not want Bielsa to change in any way, shape or form. I do not want Leeds to change. They are exactly what the Premier League need. They are my favourite team to watch in the league.
Right, let's say that maybe if they want to win a trophy next year, or like try to make a bigger statement, they should try and adapt the system to the league? No, never.
No, just play Bielsa ball. It's
all right,
fun.
Bielsa ball. All right, yeah, it is fun to watch. I will give you that. It is fun to watch. All right, second talking point. Frankie not getting the stick.
Frank not getting stick, and all of a sudden things are looking a lot bleaker for Chelsea. So obviously, I'm going to quickly skip over this before we revisit it.
Can I just say one thing? You take off your eyes off football for 4 days and the situation at Chelsea has changed 5 times. All of a sudden, Mendy is not a good goalkeeper anymore. They're dropping points. There are rumors around the team. What's going on?
Well, they've won 1 in their last 5 now, including losing one and drawing last night on Monday.
I mean, they've lost 3 of their last 5.
Yeah, exactly. So they are really looking like they're kind of struggling for form. This started with them getting embarrassed by Arteta Ball at the Emirates.
Arteta Ball? Is that a thing now?
Ball is forming, mostly helped by, I think, Lampard's lack of tactical instruction and the Chelsea players' lack of running. The interesting thing after that game was that Lampard just absolutely blamed the team. He came out and said, I take responsibility on the outside, and then continued to blame his team for not running enough. It's like, are you taking responsibility, or are you
just saying it?
You can't say both, Frank. So after losing to us, they did manage to get themselves back into it because Arsenal are still Arsenal. We like to make things difficult for ourselves. But then that was followed up at home with a 1-1 draw against Aston Villa. Giroud, the only player who seems to be able to consistently score for Chelsea at the moment, opened the scoring before El Ghazi, who's been a key man for Villa this season, equalised. For Chelsea, things just look a bit ponderous. There seems to be a lack of system there, and I think Lampard's record now, I was seeing that his points per game record for Chelsea is as bad as Andre Villas-Boas's, and it's not been a great... I know I've kind of changed my thoughts on Chelsea quite a lot, from title contenders to they're terrible to... But I think fairly consistently through I've said I don't think Frank Lampard is that great a manager. And I think maybe like spending 250 million in the summer doesn't just give you a great team straight away. And he seems to be running out of ideas with that squad. I don't get why Callum Hudson-Odoi doesn't start more every time I've seen him. He came on against Arsenal, changed the game. I think the fact that he sticks with Werner, who is starting to look like a real flop, even though I know it takes a long time to adapt to it. It takes a long time to adapt to the Premier League, but his performance against Arsenal was one of the worst front man performances I've seen at the Emirates for a long time, and we've had Sonogo there, right? Like, he was, some of his first touches, there was one moment he got through the defence, but beyond that, he did nothing. He was dragged off at half time. It seems like they can't really get all the pieces to fit in the right places.
Yeah. So if you were a manager, just a random question, if you were a manager with Lampard's experience, would you rather have your club buy 250 million worth of new players, or maybe get one big signing and try to figure out a system with the already existing players that you have?
I think he was stuck between a rock and a hard place, really, because the Chelsea squad quite obviously needed an upheaval. So they've given him that upheaval, they've backed him. Now, because they've backed him, he obviously has to show them those results. So it's made his job harder for him than if they'd not had a big summer. But then they've had a big summer, so you should be getting better results. Like, you look at Havertz, again, it's taken him a while to fit in, but he is only 18, 19. First time playing abroad, of course, it's going to take time. I just think the lack of, like, nobody knows what Chelsea are yet. They don't know what type of team they are.
Do they know who they are?
Well,
I don't think they do.
I'm not sure. One week they'll be pressing and they'll be high intensity, like tackling, working as a group, and then the next week there's no running. It all looks a bit out of ideas, a bit kind of
lackadaisical.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite English
Very good word.
I've been waiting to throw it in the pod, and this was the time.
Perfectly timed.
Lackadaisical.
I think, nobody's quite sure what team they are yet. And they've gone from now, like I said, for the third time, from title challengers to, will they make top 4 yet again? And now they're only 6 points behind Arsenal.
What about your prediction that they would win the league?
I don't know. I'm not making any more predictions for the title because I'm
not making any more predictions.
I've already said about
period.
3 teams. Who knows? If they turn a corner, then any team can get into this title race with a run of form. Like, this is not going to be a 100-point season. We can see that already. It's going to be a low scoring, a low points total to win the league this year. So any team, if they put a string of results together, can involve themselves.
All right. Who knows? The same words that Ole was probably telling himself last night at the 90th minute. Who knows if the boys will score a goal, and then, yet again, the boys come to the rescue. Man U, crucial win.
He is the luckiest man in the Premier League, Ollie. Everything just seems to bounce right for him. In a game that we were kind of half watching last night, it seemed like we kind of started to half watch.
We had the 3 screens on last night.
Yeah,
Football on every single screen. It was confusing at times.
It was getting a bit much.
At a moment I was looking at Manchester United Wolves, and it took me a second to realize if it was a recorded game, if it was a live game, what teams were playing.
But it seemed like not much was happening in that game. Kind of Wolves were waiting for United to break them down, then trying to catch them on the counter, which is what we expect from Wolves. But in the 93rd, 94th minute, Rashford managed to deflect a goal in to win the game for the Red Devils. They now find themselves only 2 points behind league leaders Liverpool, and all of a sudden, as we've said before about the narrative changing in this season, all of a sudden United have gone from not a laughing stock, but people may be laughing at them, are they going to challenge for the title? And with Bruno Fernandes seeming to be dragging that team towards it, they could be. Well, they're in the race at the moment, right? Who knows how long they can stay there? What do you think?
I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm looking at the table, and it's so fascinating. Also because some teams have played extra games, other teams have got 2 games in hand. So I see, for example, that Leicester City have 16, Liverpool have 15. But then I see at 5th place, Aston Villa, 26 points. I mean, they could easily be 3rd in the league right now with the 2nd best defense. It's a very interesting league this year. Honestly, it's a very exciting season, both in the Premier League and in the Serie A. About Manchester United, all I have to say, and I know you won't agree with me, but it's nice to see Manchester United up there. Like, it just... Right. It will look right when you will see Liverpool, Man U, Arsenal, Tottenham, the top 6 being top 6. But I really like how teams like Everton, Aston Villa are creeping in. It's very interesting. I don't know. I'm not going to make any more predictions, but yeah, looks like a very, very hard fought battle this year.
This is the year for any one of those teams that are kind of the outsiders for top 6, outsiders for top 4. This is their year to try and make a run for it, like Leicester, Everton, Wolves, even maybe Southampton looking very good. Like I said, any of these teams, if they put a run together, could get into the top 4 if things fall their way. It's really, really close this season.
Including Arsenal.
We will see. We are now, for the first time in a while, I feel like I'm not looking down the table and starting to look up it. For the first time this season, we have won 2 games in a row.
Christmas miracle.
Honestly, I had a really, not surprisingly nice, but for how quiet this Christmas was, not going home, etc. It was a surprisingly great Christmas. And that was wrapped up beautifully by Arsenal beating Chelsea 3-1, which I don't think anybody saw coming. I definitely didn't see coming. We played fantastically. Arteta switched up the team. So David Luiz and Willian were ruled out through illness, as was Gabriel, and it seemed to do us a favour. I hope that Willian is never back in the team. I've not made a secret of that, but I think it has done us a lot of favours. We brought in Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka, and Martinelli as the front 3 behind Lacazette against Chelsea, and it worked really, really well. All of a sudden, we had energy in attack. We had triangles going up the pitch. And we were just able to, through a few 1-2s, give and goes, get past defence. And a questionable penalty against Tierney. I would say it's a penalty, but it was close. It's definitely arguable. Put us in the lead. Lacazette scored. And then the best goal of the night was Saka's. People will still be arguing about whether he meant it or not. There's a great clip of Saka arguing with Callum Hudson-Odoi after the game. Hudson-Odoi is obviously quite annoyed, saying, "Oh, you didn't mean it." And Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Saka are kind of laughing at him. He's like, "Yeah, of course I meant it, man." So it was a great goal, kind of shot come cross that just dipped into the top corner. It kind of put the cherry on the top of a great performance. It was really fun to watch. Like I said, we nearly threw it away because we're still Arsenal. Tammy Abraham scored. Then we managed to give away a penalty, but Leno saved it. Make the last few minutes a little less. That was a terrible penalty. Nervy. It wasn't a great penalty. It was a very bad penalty. Jorginho, really bad penalty.
Man, that little skip that he does before the penalty winds me up.
But this time he didn't even do that. He did like half a skip. He even got the skip wrong.
All I know about Jorginho is that whenever I see him take a penalty, and he usually scores, right? He had the record for most consecutive penalties, I believe, in the Premier League. thing I keep thinking about is whenever this Euro Championship is going to be played, Jorginho taking Italy's penalties is going to give me a heart attack every single time. I'm not sure I want him to be the penalty taker.
Surely it would be Immobile, no?
I think right now, as of now, it's Jorginho because